What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. Today we're going to talk about I'm going to discuss it is part of California politics, prison politics. I'm not going to get into details. You guys know how I get down. But I do want to talk about something, and I'm you know me, I freestyle. I don't write anything down. Sometimes I have written bullet points for certain things, but this isn't one of them. This is just something that was on my mind. I was having a conversation with somebody, and we were talking about the difference between YA and the joint. The no hands policy in the joint when compared to just the recklessness of, or maybe the anarchy somewhat of the California Youth Authority. Those of you from outside of California who aren't aware, the California Youth Authority no longer exists. The California Youth Authority was prison for kids. It was juvenile prison. There were people around the age of 9 that were sent there. And you could be held until your 25th birthday. When you're 24, when you're about to turn 25, a week or so before that, you would be transferred back to your county jail. And the judge would decide what was going to happen to you, or you just max out and you'd be released, depending on if you have had a juvenile life sentence or not. The California Youth Authority was, in my opinion, so we're aware, I did a little bit over 3 years in the California Youth Authority. I got out for 5 months, and then I did around 24 years and 2 weeks in the California Department of Corrections. Don't get me wrong. California Department of Corrections, you were liable to get murdered quicker in the California Department of Corrections than you would be in the California Youth Authority. However, the California Youth Authority was the testing grounds of an individual's heart and mind. When you enter the California Department of Corrections, you have a choice. You have whatever faction you're going to run with, right? And I can't speak for any other factions. I only know who I ran around with. And if you were a Raza from Southern California, you could come in, you're going to do your time, you're going to do what's expected of you. But there's also another thing that you can involve yourself in, that you obligate yourself to, that could possibly lead to something bigger, may not, but that's not what it is. It's just something that you feel you want to be a part of. You put in all the blood and sweat and sacrifice necessary to be a part of that, right? In the California Youth Authority, you don't have a choice to go in there and do your time. And if a riot kicks off, hey, Holmes, I'm there for a riot, Holmes. If you need if the pad needs a favor, I got you. You know what I'm saying? And not politic. No, in the California Youth Authority, you're going to go in there and you are going to be tested immediately, mentally and physically. People are going to check, where's your heart at? And if you happen to be from an area that the homies aren't familiar with, and you don't have homeboys, you may be tested a whole lot more than everyone else. And the California Youth Authority was gladiator school. It was a place that bred killers. I've talked about it over and over and over again. It was a place where if somebody had the audacity to walk around like he was a tough guy, and you felt, I'm going to go with him, check it out with him, and you go and you wind up breaking his jaw or something, hey, that's what happens. When he's healed up, he'll run it back with you. He's definitely not going to let that fly. right? Um, if a dude was dropped no good in YA, there was no protective custody, he would no longer ever have, depending on how bad they do him, if he got a package from his family, nah, you can't have none of that. That belongs to somebody else. They'll take that. Canteen, they'll take that. If you had visiting clothes, they'll take that. And it's you against everybody if you fall, right? Whereas in the California Department of Corrections, when you have the no hands policy, I've talked about this a lot. There are people who you see it in them immediately. Like, this vato don't have it in them. But you are not allowed to just expose that. So it has to come out on its own, however that happens, right? And so when I was having this conversation with this other individual, it reminded me of someone that I was incarcerated with. And he happened to be my older homeboy. He grew up with my dad. And we were Sally's for a while. And he was from Santa Barbara. He was not from Lavadero. He wasn't east side or west side. He was just an older cat from Santa Barbara. Homie, right? And he was a dolphin. And for me, I'm gonna just keep it real. Like, hey, I don't have no problem with the dude. I liked him, to an extent. But anyone that grew up around heroin knows the difference between a tecato and a dolphin. And I called my older homeboy a dolphin. He was a dolphin. And a tecato, well, he has a habit and he'll go boosting, robbing. He's going to do whatever it takes to get his fix and get well in the morning, you know what I'm saying? And then go about his day, criming it, doing whatever he does. He may even have a legitimate job. He may be functioning. He's a tecato. He just has a habit, right? A dope fiend will double cross you, will steal from people that he's supposedly cool with. There's not very many limits to a dope fiend when it comes to him getting well and him staying high. So, while he and I were cellies, we lived in B Facility 7 building in New Folsom. And we lived in a B section. He was a porter. And our door was always cracked. It was always cracked about that much, man. Right? And when the dope man would hit, the dope man would be in A section. And he would tell my homeboy, like, hey, try to stay in the section today as much as possible. I'm chopping up papers. I'm going to need you to drop some dope off for me. All right. Yeah, I got you. And my homeboy would get, and they would tell him, like, look, Holmes, there's 4 papers right here, homie. Drop these 4 papers off to this cell in C section. When you're done, come back, and I got this paper for you for running. He's like, I got you, Holmes, don't even trip. And he would leave A section with those papers, go in a B section where we live, come in our cell, and he would cut the papers and remake them so they're all the same size. And he just made himself a paper. Drop off those 4 papers, go back, and then pick up the shot for him. And I used to see him doing shit like that, and I used to just be like, wow, to scan this thing. And I knew, I was like, sooner or later it's going to catch up with him. See, because he had started doing time since the 70s, a lot of homies used to look at him like I don't know. I didn't get it. Like if he deserved some kind of special treatment or something. And so an occasion occurred, right? And I'm walking laps, and Pacas, who want to be in my celly. Great guy, man. Really, really good dude. I learned a lot from Pacas. Pacas says, hey, Holmes, can I talk to you? And I said, yeah, what's up, Holmes? So I separated from who I was walking with because obviously this is a private conversation. And I told this story, and I'm going to tell it again here. And he says, hey, your homeboy, he's been around a long time, Holmes, and this and that, whatever, Holmes. And I'm like, yeah. So I'm knowing, okay, caught up to him. In my mind, I'm knowing. And I'm knowing where this conversation is going to go, but I got to let it go its course, right? So he's like, look, Holmes, this vato owes a lot of feria on the yard. And I looked at him. I said, whack him. And he was like, huh? I said, fuck him, whack him. And he goes, hey, damn, fool, you cold. Hey, that's your homeboy, right? I said, I don't get high. Fuck him. Whack him, Holmes. If he owes, he don't got no money to pay. You know that. I know that. I said, you think I'm going to pay for him? I said, I'm not going to pay nothing for that guy. He went and did that. He made his bed. Hey, whack him. And the homie started laughing. He said, damn, that's cold, eh? But it makes sense, right? So, all right, Holmes, we shake hands. Bam, I go back to who I'm walking with. Hey, we go back to our daily prison program. A couple days later, another homeboy from Santa Barbara. He's from the east side. Cool ass dude, eh? And Pacas comes. He sees us walking. And I look, and he's like, hey, Holmes, let me holler at you guys. I look, and I was like, fuck. And I said, here we go. So he starts running down the same thing, but now with the other homie from Santa Barbara. And right away, the homies feed man from Santa Barbara, from the east side. And he's like, well, how much does your homies? He goes, I'm willing to pay half, eh? And he like went to look towards me. I said, I ain't paying shit. And the homie looked like, oh, okay. And I told him, hey, homies, I'm not paying nothing for that. Fuck that. I said, you shouldn't even pay. And he's like, nah. He goes, that's my homeboy. He goes, I'll pay half. And so the homie, so Pacas is like, okay, we'll figure out the rest, Holmes, but gracias, yeah, I appreciate that. He's been around a long time. I was like, man, who cares? So the homie takes off, and Pacas takes off, and my homeboy from the east side is like, hey, Holmes, and I told him you should have never offered. Never. I said, this is what this vato, they're going to tell him now. Well, your homeboy, he kicked in half, and I said, he's going to come, and he's going to promise you all kinds of shit, and it's never going to come through, Holmes. Never. I said, he's going to keep doing what he does. And so they wind up paying his debt. And the older homie, my old Sally, was pissed. He comes up and he's like, hey, Holmes, to the homie from the east side. And he's like, hey, you paid half of that? And he was like, yeah, homie, like, I'm not going to leave you hanging. And now he knows that I didn't pay shit. But he tells him, homie tells from the east side, says, I wasn't going to leave you hanging, Holmes. Fuck that. And he was like, hey, look, homie, I appreciate that, eh? And don't trip, Holmes. I got some shit in the mix. As soon as it comes through, I'm going to kick you down, Holmes. I appreciate that. He goes, but I need you vatos to understand something. I burn who I burn because they ain't going to do shit about it. All they're going to do is go run to other motherfuckers, eh? He goes, and instead of them whacking them for being pussies, they get somebody to pay the debt. Like, that vato could have came and got at me. He could have went and got his strap, and we could have did whatever we were going to do. But I burn punks, eh? I burn pussies. Vatos that I think I know for a fact ain't going to do a motherfucking thing. I'll burn them, and I'm going to continue to burn them. So, we part ways. Bam, he takes off to go do whatever he's going to do. And me, the homie from the east side, we keep walking. And the homie from the east side goes, damn, Holmes. Everything you said, he was going to say, he said. I said, man, that was my Sally, Holmes. I know what time it is with him. So I say that to say that's one of the problems with the hands-off policy, the no-hands policy. There's more good than bad with that policy in California. But these dudes that were dudes that if they were in YA and brought in dope, the dope would have been took from them and they wouldn't have done shit. Because over there, you don't have nobody to cry to. You know, it's like, now this is, I don't really like talking about this, but you know, there's these vatos that like to run their mouths a lot, right? And then whenever anybody says their name, they go running to certain people. They do that in the joint on a very, very, very small scale, but they do that more out here, right? And I personally seen when somebody goes and cries to a legend about somebody else, in that legend's eyes, the person crying and complaining about another man is considered a bitch from that point on. Because if he had gone to him and say, hey, look, I don't want to bring you no headaches. I'm not trying to, you know, interfere with nothing, eh? But this vato over here, I want to let you know that, like, I want to get down with this vato with fierro, you know, and because, you know, whatever the reason is, and that legend would be like, orale, you know what, Holmes? You're both good vatos, eh? Let's figure out a way to make it to where you both can coexist and still get your fed and this and that. They respect that. But when they have somebody sniveling, they're like, vato ain't no kind of motherfucking man right here. I don't know. I'm in a weird mood tonight, I guess. I'm recording for tomorrow. I know you guys were overdue for another glimpse at the realities of California prison life. Even with the no hands policy, people are tested. The difference in the California Department of Corrections is when you show weakness, they prey on it in a different way in the California Department of Corrections. See, in the California Youth Authority, everybody wants to be the alpha. In the California Department of Corrections, their eyesight is a lot further. They see way further down the line. These are grown men, been doing this shit for a long time. When you expose the weakness in your heart or your mind, it can be tapped into and you can be rebuilt in a way that somebody wants you rebuilt. It's a cold game. This is why I always say, if you ain't in it 100%, if you're only in it 99.99999%, get out. You ain't ready. And, you know, this little term that a lot of people like to use is chestnut checkers. That's a fact in the joint. Out here in California, that's a fact. If you can't meet somebody and within a couple minutes of talking with this person, conversing with this person, you don't know who this person is, stay out the game. Do your time. Let it be known, hey, if a riot kicks off or you need a favor, I got you. And do your time. But anyways, that's my video for today, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, leave a comment. Share the video with somebody who you think would enjoy it. And everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them, right? I'm out of here.